Hi, I'm Jen. This is Kyle, Ben, Molly, and Eli. We're nomads, inspiring you to live a life that you love. Every September, we do Pay It Forward for Ethan, for our son Ethan, who was killed in a car accident back in 2011. Ethan was such an incredible kid. He showed empathy and kindness to everyone that he met. He'd do random acts of kindness because he said everyone should be paying it forward. September 19th to October 19th, we encourage you to do one small random act of kindness each day. It can be as simple as getting the door for someone or writing someone a letter you've been meaning to reach out to. Or you could even pay for someone's coffee in line behind you. This year, we have a hefty goal of raising $25,000 for the Gabby Petito Foundation. Last year, together we were able to raise over $10,000 for Mental Health America. This year, we want to work together to help victims of domestic violence. Ethan lived outside of his comfort zone, always saying hi to people, making them feel seen. Think about when someone does that for you out of the blue, no strings attached. Doesn't it feel good? Let's take this next month and make people feel seen and loved. I'm betting it'll be the best month that you've had in a very long time. Nothing makes your heart feel as full as paying it forward with no recognition. By doing things for other people without expecting anything in return, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. By simply going out of your way for someone, you might just change the trajectory of their entire life. And changing the trajectory of people's lives are exactly what Ethan and Gabby did. For the next 30 days, let's pay it forward for Ethan and Gabby. Let's do a random act of kindness every day from September 19th to October 19th. And if you can't donate, don't worry. Just share this fundraiser. You're doing more than you know just by sharing. Let's get out there and start spreading some random acts of kindness by paying it forward. Hi, everyone. Sorry we missed you yesterday. It was a long day.
Oh, and last week.
And no, we were live last week.
No, but we were supposed to put this out like Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Friday.
I know. Things happen. Life happens. We are fluid in life, but we've got good news because our best friends, Jed and Sandy, are waiting in wings right now.
In the green room?
In the green room? Is the room green? No, they're in the salt flat room. Is what should I
think they're in the blue room.
The blue room? Oh, the blue and orange room for Wanderful Revolution. Anyway, you asked for it. These two are making out.
Oh,
they're there. Bless. We've missed them so much. Like, we love you guys.
Oh,
you're awesome.
She's so
I'm nice.
But hey, guys, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being on the live with us. Everybody out there, if you have not subscribed to Wanderful Revolution, please do so. They're freaking awesome. We love them. Their videos are great. Thank you to all of our mods in the chat. Thank you for being here. If you are a mod, just wave and let everybody know you're a mod. If you guys could go and follow them as well. They're freaking awesome. I love all the people that are with us. But if you've got a question, get them ready. Go ahead and start putting them in the chat. I'll pop them up.
I saw one come up a minute ago. They asked, down. Oh, right there.
Yep. Did Wanderful sell their van, and what's next for them? Sounds like a great question to start out with.
No, we have not sold our van, and we don't know what's next.
I knew that answer, but I want
van first before we figure that out, because it's going to depend on when and where we sell the van.
Yeah, I get that. But right now you're in the Salt Flats,
we
chilling,
are.
hanging out.
Yeah, we're over on the border of Utah and Nevada, and the Salt Flats over here they're pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, we haven't made it out there yet. We drove by, but we weren't able to stop. But we are in a whole heck of a bunch of full-time families right now.
Yeah, Rayleigh Creative Travel actually said, heard you had awesome treats in the green room.
We did?
Hang on.
Somebody forgot to tell us where they were.
This ain't NBC, guys. This ain't no.
Yeah,
this ain't NBC.
You licked the salt earlier, so I don't know if that counts.
I did.
He licked the salt on the flats.
FYI, salt flats.
It's really salty.
Salty.
Yeah.
So you come up with a question and ask them a question.
But let's talk about the van a little bit. I mean, we cranked out 4 videos and kind of showed the highlight. I don't know if it was the highlights of the build, but it was a long 5-ish, 6-ish weeks. I mean, it was intense.
Well, like we had such high hopes when we got there.
We're like 3 weeks, we got this. 3 weeks, we're done. We're out of here. But, like, do we even need to pay for a month? And it's like,
No. If we got a month, we'd have a week to sit around and do nothing. I mean,
Right?
was not the case. Oh, God.
Vacation. So what did you guys feel like was the most challenging part of the van build?
I just think the general design of trying to fit 5 humans and 4 dogs into a van and not have it collapse on somebody.
Yeah.
close second, though. Close second is location.
Finding a place to do it. Yeah.
If we needed screws, you need to drive 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, the place we found was in the middle of nowhere. So long drives to get anything.
Yeah.
And lots of downtime for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it did make it, you kind of, especially for somebody like me who's not a planner. I mean, when we built the bus, I had Lowe's, Home Depot, any home improvement store you can imagine within a 5-minute drive. So, it was a little different. So this is a whole different scenario. So, yeah, that was definitely a challenge, but it was an experience. I mean, Cusick was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it was like the river.
It was a pretty town, yeah.
Yeah, it was
and there's no
place.
such thing as 2-day Amazon shipping there. So,
yeah, that was another challenge.
No
I mean,
such thing.
shipping was really. Amazon was anywhere between 5 and 7 days, and normal postage or was even longer. So that it was, that definitely played a factor into the timeline, I'm sure. So
I think that was the biggest delay. Otherwise, I think we could have finished it in 4 weeks instead of the 5.5, 6. So
had we been planners, I feel like if we could order the stuff ahead of time. But the other issue was that there was nowhere to do this van. Like, it was hard to find a place that would let us stay there for one and then work on it there at the same time.
I was surprised they let us.
Yeah, me too. It was a
Like,
good find out there for that. Yeah.
We jumped all over it. We were like, no, who's that? Oh, our children. We jumped all over it. We finally found a campground. We're like, okay, we're going to drive 8.5 hours across the 2 states right now to go build a van for 5.5 weeks. It was exhausting though. What was your favorite part of the build?
Oh gosh.
So you didn't show this on video, or you might have and I missed it, but was the fireworks show at the very end of
to celebrate us completing the van build.
There was a little small casino down the road, and I wouldn't have thought they had, I figured they'd set off a couple of snakes and maybe a couple bottle rockets.
It had nothing to do with it being the 4th of July. It was all for us.
Yeah, it was all for us. Absolutely. And it was absolutely it was crazy. We sat out there as long as we could, and then we went inside the van because it was freezing out and watched the rest of it. But
that was incredible.
I was in the bathroom because I ate dairy, so I had a different kind of explosion going on.
Okay, we don't need to.
But Helen wants to know, how long does it take Wanderful to edit a video?
So, a general rule of thumb for our videos, it takes about an hour a minute. So if there is 20 minutes of video, then it takes approximately 20 hours, believe it or not.
They do that fancy stuff over there.
That's why we only do one a week.
That's why we only do one a week, because by the end of...
I don't blame you.
I'm frazzled by the end of...
There's so much involved in it. Like, editing this series, this was like the most intricate editing that I've done, like our new intro and the series and all that. And I am just sitting there thinking, I have almost like 60 hours in the 5 videos, like 20 hours for Jed. Bless your heart, man. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, holy crap, that's a lot.
A lot of editing.
Yeah. Now, when we did our van build videos, they didn't take as long as like our cinematic stuff. That takes a little bit longer. Yeah. I would say maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So those are a little easier.
Y'all get amazing and fancy and like make it all pretty. So
we try. Sometimes we succeed.
Sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we don't.
But seriously, get your questions in, guys. We will answer them if you have questions about anything that we used. I will tell you, our sponsors were really easy to work with.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, we were able to cover some of the bigger ticket items through sponsorship. So that definitely was a big help in the process. I mean, I figure, close to $5,000 or $6,000 in sponsored stuff. So that was a huge deal. Like I say, I can't thank our sponsors enough, because I definitely, we probably wouldn't be able to do as much to the van as we did without them. So absolutely.
Yeah, we were just talking about those batteries the other day from Big Battery, and
No, those are great.
Those are great.
The whole plug and play thing, really, it's really nice.
And we used Havelock wool in our van as well.
And we have New Power panels. So
solar
we
panels.
stand by those two companies as well. They're really great companies.
It's good stuff. I mean, they use, the panels are how you could buy cheaper panels, but they're good quality. I mean, I like the build quality, and they seem to really gear toward van life, RV life. So that's cool too.
They've been fantastic for us. So
we've gotten over what they're rated for. So per panel. So I mean, you can't complain about that.
Yeah.
So Kathy wants to know, where did Sandy learn all the electrical work she did? Sandy's freaking awesome.
So I was in the Navy, and I actually worked on aircraft electronics back in the day. Jed also knows electronics. He worked on electronics in the Navy, and also wind turbines. He worked on those for a long time. But when we did our own build, I researched all the ins and outs. So actually, when it came to Jen and Kyle's, it was pretty much just doing it again. So a few changes with the difference in the batteries and having to figure out how to incorporate those into the system. But also, there's a website out there called explorers.life. He does an amazing, if you're ever working on a van build or looking at electrical, especially if you want Victron components, he's actually really amazing. His website is amazing, and he's got a lot of detail on how to put things together. So if you go use his website, I think you're 20 steps ahead of the game already just by using that. And he's got some great videos, and so very helpful for that. But yeah. So.
Yeah, I've seen a few people actually show some video to him, because he's good. He knows what he's talking about. But I've got to dip out. I've got to go to an orient.
There's no internet is now going as you walk out.
Leaving?
I didn't know if it was you guys or us.
Who knows? We have the Starlink out, but there's 50 full-time families here. So we're at the Balloon Fiesta in New Mexico. The balloons go up each year, and we're trying to get some media passes, so we might get to do some really cool stuff. What I thought was cool, Kevin? What I thought was cool on the van build.
Is it them or us?
You there?
Yeah,
we're here.
Are you?
We're here. Am I moving?
Yes.
You're moving. We just don't know if it's for you because, we're in the middle of nowhere right now. So.
All right. So I was saying, the kids' bunks and how it's crazy. The shift of first they were all going to be above the couch, and we were going to have this pull down system that we welded and engineered and all these things. This was Kyle. Kyle's a dreamer, y'all. He is a dreamer.
I just couldn't imagine that. So I'm glad we came up with this other way of doing it. And I think this is much better, because I had no idea how we were going to manage the lower part of the bed where we were going to have it slide out for Eli and Ben. That would have been fine, I think. But the whole part where we wanted to have a bed at the top come down for Molly, I just had no idea how we were going to pull that off. So
it ended up working great. I mean, Eli fits on his bed. Ben loves having the couch. And then Molly loves her little nook up there. So I knew we could do it, fitting 9 living things into one space. I just didn't know how we were going to do it. So what was the one piece of the van that you were like, I cannot believe we pulled that off? The one thing that you're like, this is not going to work.
So for me, it was that part that starts at the very front of the van and
ends in the back.
Ends in the back. I had no idea if we could pull this off and sleep everyone like safely.
For me, it was definitely the beds, just trying to get all the sleeping arrangements and the dog kennel in there. It was probably the most complicated. The other stuff was pretty simple, I guess. Once we knew how we were going to get those beds in there, it kind of worked out a little bit better. But I do remember what my favorite memory is from building the van. And so it's funny. And it was the morning that you guys couldn't find Eli after we got his bed in. And he like snuck out of the bus and went back to sleep in his bed before he even finished it. There's like hardly anything in there. But yeah, I love that.
Looking
memory.
for the kid for like 45 minutes. And as it turns out, he went from his bunk in the bus, went out of the bus into the van, climbed into his bunk with his new sleeping bag, and then finished sleeping out in the van.
So cute.
I think like, I don't
Y'all
know.
stop thanking us for our service. Stop.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. Sorry, I'm by myself right now trying to do all the things. Sterling wants to know, how hard is it to understand nomadic electrical systems for a power hungry rig?
So when we built our van, we had Sandy sat down and wrote out everything that we use. So camera, drone, computers, well, 2 computers, plus appliances and everything else. So
it's just a really good idea to do a complete audit of what you want to put in there. So like before you even start your electrical portion of your build, sit down and write, okay, we're going to have 2 computers. We're probably going to use it this many hours a day. We have a refrigerator that uses this much power. And of course it has to run 24 hours a day, and really sit down and write down every single electrical component from your light, the little things like your lights to your refrigerator to your computers, and figure out how much energy you actually need in a day. And then you can kind of build your system around that. Now, you also have to, think that you just can't leave stuff on like all the time, when you don't need it. If you don't need your inverter, turn it off, because it pulls ours pulls a good 20, 30 watts, even when we don't have anything using our electrical outlet. So just remember to turn stuff off is like a huge power saver. But definitely I suggest a power audit to see what kind of power system you need in the van to begin with, or at the bus, or whatever you're doing.
And going back to those batteries, one of the things we liked about your batteries, the Owl batteries, because we have Battleborn, they're good batteries. I mean, they're great, and we're pleased with them. But I mean, you get a lot more power out of a smaller footprint, which when you're building a van, space, holy cow.
Yeah, I think Battleborn has come out with some newer batteries now that have more amp hours. But yeah, those were they 270 a piece or 240? I can't remember what your batteries are, but just having 2 of those, and they're a little bit taller, so they're really nice to use. The only complaint I had about the big batteries would be the size of the wiring, and I'm not an expert on that, but the actual cables that come with it, and we had some bigger ones manufactured to make sure that it worked a little bit better. So that would be my only thing with those. But obviously they've probably done lots of research, and you have them in your bus, and you have a lot more power pool in your bus than you do in the van, or we have in our van. So I think they've worked really well.
Yeah, that's one thing we were really impressed with is the batteries, because we bought them for the bus. And we loved them. They were really plug and play and simple and pretty good. Lorna says, Sandy, you did great.
Thank you, Lorna.
Kathy says, yes, Sandy is awesome.
Thanks. You guys are just making my head like go.
But like, honestly,
we're gonna need a bigger van to fit it.
I know.
Sandy was amazing. I mean, Jed was amazing. Like, Sandy kept Kyle in line. Like, when you have your partner doesn't listen to you when they should listen to you. But when it's not your partner and and Sandy would go up to Kyle and be like, hey, we need this, and I need you to order it now. And then Kyle would be like, okay. And he'd go get his computer and go, I'm like, what, how did she just do that? But like, it was cool because Kyle is a builder that is very fly by the seat of his pants. He's a dreamer, which is great. Everybody has their own journey they're on. But it was nice to build alongside you guys, because you could show him and kind of steward him that it's okay to plan a little and then you can be willy-nilly and crazy. It was nice to build with a different building style, because
Yeah.
whenever, like, you know, we could get super creative and be like, okay, it's gonna be great, and then you guys like, no, this isn't gonna work, but this might work. You know, I think it was a great balance.
No, Kyle's great at mechanical stuff, and I mean, that's not a strong part of mine. So, but, and it seems like when you're doing a build in general, every time, you know, you get your floor plan and everything else, you're like, okay, this is how this is going to fit together, and then you go in there and it doesn't fit together, and it looks great on paper, and then you get in there and you're like, crap. Well, I guess we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. So
Well, that and the time constraints we had trying to finish it quickly,
Yes,
and the
yes.
shipping issues and the supply issues, like, you know, like, kind of had to do some planning. Otherwise, we were going to be there. We'd probably still be there right now.
I mean, 11 and a half months for our van. How long do you think it would take us to build? Like, if we had to build the Blue Ghost all over again, how long do you think it would take?
I think now we could do it in 3 or 4, and that's just, you know, we have like a couple of systems that are a little more complicated. But now that we know, I don't even know that we'd put those systems back in, honestly, just because, I mean, we use them and we love them, but like, we just feel we could be simpler. So
Yeah, and people look at our van and they're like, "Oh wow, you have a lot of cool stuff in there." Yeah, true, but sometimes simpler is better.
Honestly, like when I took the van out with you guys, so when we split off and it was just me, Sandy, Jed, Ben, Molly, and the dogs, I felt pretty good. I was like, okay, this is simple enough to where I can do this. Like, I can do this on my own. So I can see where like other female solo van lifers, a van is appealing because it's easy and simple and not overwhelming like the bus. Like, I couldn't do the bus by myself because that's just overwhelming. But the van is easy.
Yeah. No, it is. They are.
So
we wish I was going to say, we wish we were smaller. I know you guys can't go any smaller. You probably wish you were a little bit bigger. I mean, but we wish we were smaller. And you know that may be a hint towards our future plans, just in case.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're selling the van. So, I mean,
we just want to be a little smaller.
Yeah, I mean, 25 feet, I think, you know, it used to be in the RV world that 25 feet was this magic number. You could get into national parks and do all this stuff and like everything else. But, you know, in the long run, the smaller the space you can deal with, I mean, the more you can do. And I mean, we could definitely go smaller.
No, without a doubt.
I will say, when we got back to the bus, it felt like a damn mansion. Like, I was like, what is this life? What is this space? But with the van, for its intended purpose of smaller off-grid camping trips, you get all your work done before you go. You know, you know the expectation of what you're doing. I think the van's going to be amazing for that. Molly's already claimed it for the balloon fiesta. She's already had her girlfriends in it, and like that's their new hangout space. So they've been in it, and I think it's going to be such a great thing for us as far as more space. We'll have an additional living space. If we want to go away for the weekend, we can. I think it's going to be really good. I do.
Yeah, it was really cool when we were hanging out at Descend. You know, we had our little space, and everyone's travel style is different. We move all the time. We move constantly. Like, we get antsy with 3 or 4 days. So, and but I mean, it's nice with a van just to sit somewhere, you know, like Descend, you know, for a few days and just put everything out and actually, you know, just relax. So it just depends, you know. A fifth wheel might be for you if you know, if you want to set up someplace for 6 months. Would I recommend a van for you? Probably not. But, you know, if you really like to move and try to get into as much as you can, then, you know.
It really depends on what you want to do and where you want to go.
If you have 3 kids.
Like, before we had
3
the
dogs,
van.
A squirrel, and I'm sure there's a raccoon running around in there somewhere.
But no, before we had the van, we actually lived full-time in an RV for how many years? 5 years? 5 years. So we had a 30-foot travel trailer that we lived, but we were travel nurses back then. So we would move and we'd go to one place for 3 months at a time. And, you know, that's where we would be. We wouldn't have to move the RV for those 3 months. So, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's great we got to see so many things this summer that we wouldn't have normally seen otherwise. And then going forward, like we're just gonna have to plan a little lot. But EF wants to know, do either of you couples have any preferred brand of appliances for your vans?
So appliances like kitchen appliances, or
Probably, yeah.
'cause
So
I love our refrigerator.
yeah, so it's an isotherm refrigerator, a Freeline 115. When we were doing our research for that, first of all, they're not cheap, because anything 12 volt that's super efficient means not cheap. So, less efficient stuff, or 120 volt is obviously going to be cheaper, but they pull a lot more power. We knew that the refrigerator was something that was going to be running 24 hours a day, so we wanted to be as conservative as we could with the energy. So that's why we went with that one, and it pulls like an amp, maybe an amp at a time, and most of the time it's even less than that. So it's very, very, very power conservative. So we love the isotherms.
TB, you didn't know we were nurses?
Oh wait, I'm missing comments.
No, he's
right.
skipping ahead.
I'm skipping ahead. I'm sorry. That kind of like
squirrel.
Yeah, we were the best kind of nurses, ER nurses.
Aww, yeah, that's y'all are amazing, and I couldn't do it, but I'm glad y'all did it.
But going back to the fridge real quick, I mean, our refrigerator was more expensive. The problem is you can get a mini fridge like you stick in a dorm or in a garage or something, but you're going to spend even more money in batteries trying to power that thing, because the 120 small little refriges, they just, holy cow, they just eat it up. Eat it up.
Ours worked out pretty good. I mean, they hog more power than I would like them to. But like we haven't had to plug the van in since we've been back to the bus. I mean, it's only really running max air fans and the 2 fridges, and it's pretty good to go, So I would put the least amount of stuff in your rig that you can. Like get away with the least amount.
Think about what you really need. I would say we also have going back to that question, we also have a Webasto diesel cooktop. So we decided not to go with an induction cooktop in our van. And that was just because inductions pull so much power. And for most inductions, like we have a 2000 watt inverter, most inductions, you're going to need at least 3000 watts, or you're going to get close to maxing it out. You can run them, but you're getting close to your max power with those. So we like that. It just sips a little bit of diesel, uses a little bit of electricity. So we conserve a lot more power with that as far as cooking. I mean, of course, we still have our Instapot and stuff that we like to cook with, but we like it. Would we put it in another van when we build it? Probably not. We probably just go with a little propane, like something that we can pull out and stick on the countertop or outside. We'd probably keep it a little more simple.
But I mean, it has saved a lot of electricity. So I mean, our heat and our cooktop and even hot water heater are all diesel. They still require a little bit of juice to get the system going, but nowhere as near as,
Now, had we known back then what the diesel prices were going to be, we might have had a much different.
They don't use that much diesel, though.
It doesn't use that much.
No,
it doesn't use a lot.
They really do sip, but there's a lot more maintenance involved to these systems. Like you have to, change out the filters and clean it like once a year or so.
It's not a big deal,
but
I mean, have to do it.
Doing a build on a rig is, it's you're trading out something for something else. So like our AC. So we have a 12 volt AC. It says 8 to 10 hours of compressor on time. I mean, that's on eco mode and low, and
with a lot of solar power coming in, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We haven't gotten that much out of it. So,
but I mean, it's got us through tight spots. If we're plugged in, then great.
And that's our philosophy. If it's hot enough to run the air conditioner, we probably want to be somewhere where we can plug in anyway.
And it's for our cat. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
she's 19.
It's all for Kita.
That's really why we have the AC in the van. It's for the dogs. Like it's not for.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. We would have just done 2 fans. Put it in.
The 2 max air fans. I tell you what, the 2 max air fans, opening that side door and opening the rear doors in the back, it is like air condition is flowing through your van. And we ran the AC maybe twice all summer. That's it.
Yeah, we
until we
barely
got
win ours
south.
over.
Yeah.
And it's usually if we're not in the van and we have to run in the store or be gone for a little bit, we'll just turn the air conditioner on for Kita. Most of the time we use the air conditioner, we're not even in the van.
Yep. EF says, super great answer on appliances. Had been wondering about power usage, amps required. Thank you.
Of course.
So when I first came out with my color scheme of my fruit salad, you can be honest. How much faith did you have that it was going to work?
I gotta get. There's a thing over here that I've got to go.
I had no worries. Like
I'm going to preface this with, it turned out great. It turned out amazing. Like, Kyle and I had a little sidebar about the color choice, and that's
Jed
like
might have been like, I don't know about those
I
colors.
was like, I don't know, but it came together really
it did.
well.
They look really good.
It looks really nice. But I mean, Kyle was on the same side of the fence with me as far as, Sandy picked the colors for the van. I didn't. I mean,
Good choice.
yeah, very good choice, because it would probably look terrible if I would have picked the colors. I guarantee
Jed's not allowed
you.
to pick the colors.
No.
Jed's would have been all brown, and Kyle's would have been like
Probably.
all
Brown, all
black.
black.
Like monochromatic all the way. It matches. That's all we need. It's
It
fine.
looked like a black and white photo. That's
right.
It's like the 1800s photos, Jed. It's going back to the sepia.
love it. Love it.
But no, I mean, I wanted something crazy. I wanted something because it's a fun home. In the bus, it's more neutral aside for like fake green grass walls. But like, I wanted it to be like a happy space that it's fun time. We're having fun. I was slightly nervous when the first rainbow pillows came in, and I was like, oh, this is not what I was going for here.
I remember that.
I was like, oh, okay. That was not a good Amazon buy. They were not the same color. The stupid duvet cover. I don't know if you've ever used a duvet. Don't. It's dumb.
They're horrible. I don't like duvets at all.
They are
like I can never get them to stay together. They're always like frumpy and clumpy and all the umpies. All the umpies.
So what was your favorite thing to build? Like out of anything that we built in the van, what was like your favorite thing to put together?
I think what we came up with for the storage, like the 5 little cubbies, I think that was like a really good design thing. And it also helped us kind of like come up with the idea of how to actually build the kids' beds over top of everything. So yeah, I think it was a really clever storage kind of idea, and using the top to like support Molly and Eli's beds. I think that's probably
that was all Sandy. Sandy was like, we're gonna build storage over here, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. I'm like, okay, let's do it. We got this. It's fine. It's fine.
I was like, I'm gonna start cutting wood and scribing.
I know, it's funny. Like, we would tell the guys, like, Sandy would just write on the board exactly what they need, and then she would have to go trace it, and then she'd be like, okay, this is what you're doing, and she would give Jed and Kyle their assignments, and like, it worked really well as Sandy as the project manager. I'm just like, it worked amazing.
My favorite was, so I probably broke more of Kyle's drill bits than I care to admit. I had to dig a hole in the back because I never told him about it. Anything of Kyle's that I broke, I would just put in this little pit in the back of the campground so that,
that exists.
The time capsule. You can go back and recover.
I really like y'all's ceiling. Like when we found your ceiling.
Oh, I love that wood that we found for yours.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love our ceiling, but
that wood would have actually been like, I love what we did with yours, but it would have been beautiful with just a clear coat because it's such pretty with the blue that stands out in it. Yep. Like, it was pretty wood.
It was gorgeous. Like, it was really fun to go back through the van series and edit it now that we're not building it right now. And it was so nostalgic because like when you're in something and you're just like pissed off one minute and then happy the next minute, and then it's just a roller coaster of emotions. But then when you look back and then you watch it and you're like, oh, you can appreciate it, and the nostalgia comes back now that it's finished.
Mm-hmm.
which was good. So where was your favorite stop that we made in the van?
Oh, when we were like the whole summer?
Whole summer. After we left Cusick.
Oh, after. Okay, that was before we built the van. I was going to say Monte Scarlato.
Oh my God, Monte Carlo was so good.
That's before the van was finished. That was
How
on the
many
way to build the van. Huh?
How many bottles were consumed?
I think a half a bottle.
No.
Half a case.
I think we at least had a minimum of a bottle each, not including the sampler, I think. So, I mean,
We had a
It's a good
fun
time.
night. I'll just say that.
It was a good night. It was a good night.
But when the van was done,
I've got blackmail footage if anybody wants to send like.
You know what my favorite part is when we were driving through the Oregon Scenic Byway and did Mount Noma Falls. And like,
that was
I think
fun.
Yeah.
in the beginning is just my favorite. That 6 days, no offense to Kyle or Eli, it's not that I don't love them, but it was so cool to do that on my own with the kids, with you guys, you know, like it was just one of those empowering things that's like, oh, I can do this. And it was good for the kids to see that like mom could do this too. And it was an awesome, I love that. The Oregon Scenic Byway is probably my favorite.
I also loved when we took the vans over to the San Juan Islands. That was a lot of fun. And we actually got stranded an extra day over there because they canceled all the ferries on us. And so we had to like scrounge and find a place to stay. But that was a fun little trip over there too.
That was awesome. It was awesome. Jarhead and Ginger says, I hate our duvet. I am with you. My sentiments.
I will never buy another duvet in my entire life.
They suck. They suck. They're stupid. I'm never buying another one. They're just dumb.
Yeah.
Jeanette says, did cooking get any easier in the van? It did. Once Kyle got the Instapot, he got his grill first and the grill worked okay. And then Kyle got the Instapot and like that was a game changer. And he's been cooking in the damn thing ever since he got it. And he's so excited for cooking with Kyle to come back. Like, look at this kitchen.
So just so you know, like Instapots are great because like they use a lot of power when they're getting up to pressure, but it doesn't take that long. And then once they're up to pressure, they don't use a whole lot of power at all.
Yep.
So yeah, they're great for cooking in the van.
Rickard says, are we live? We are. We're about to wrap up our live. We just did our premiere and we're with Jed and Sandy. Kyle went down to get us all registered at the Full-Time Families event. It's going to be a good couple of weeks. We'll be quiet on social media a little bit just because we got a lot of stuff going on, but still a lot of fun stuff. Sterling wants to know, do y'all hook up the van to the bus when traveling or the van driven on travel days? Well, the van is 7,400 pounds. We weighed the van.
We did weigh it. That's good. We came in at a good weight.
We did. We look at us. Look at us. And so the van is really heavy. And so the bus just doesn't have enough power in the engine to pull it. So yeah, I'm driving now, but honestly, it's really not that bad. The kids all ride in the bus because the bus is brand new. And me and Theodore cruise in the van. So I can't really complain because I get quiet time. Today we go, said Jed. I'm sending you my email for that blackmail video. Kathy says, I have my Instapot going now. Love it.
Actually, that's another thing we do like in our van is the Instapot.
We've already talked about that when you were gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
Late to the game.
It's
I've been
okay.
drinking all this water and I had to go in and
Jeanette, we're suggesting one for a while. Glad Kyle decided to buy one. Yeah, it takes him a while to buy stuff, like months of telling him to buy things. Sandy tells him, Kyle, I need you to go order cables right now. And he's like Johnny on the spot. And he's out the door ordering crap. So I'm just going to have Sandy tell him what to do. I like that. Nursing our travel buses. Oh, that's right. Y'all are at the thing. Have a fabulous time. Well, Jed and Sandy, you know we love you and you're amazing and wonderful and we love you. You're the best.
Aw, we love you too.
how do you do that on?
I don't like. You have to ask Molly.
It might be backwards.
I might be backwards. Oh, there you go. Look, that looks better.
There you go. That's much better.
And nursing our travel bag, I know this doesn't look like anatomically correct heart, but It's a nursing
Oh,
joke.
It was a nursing joke.
It
Not
was
very
cute.
good.
It was cute. I
It was
liked it.
one.
I liked it. Thank you to all of our mods. Thank you for cleaning up the chat. I know we had one guy that was super persistent. NOTB said we need to hire him because he just wouldn't stop. So
And maybe he should be a moderator, because then he'd be like,
right?
only I get to say obscene things in the chat.
All right. Well, we love you guys. I'm gonna go do something and find something. I don't know. But we will see you guys sometime soon. We love you. You're amazing. Be kind. Take care of each other. Always stay weird.
And stay wonderful.
Definitely stay wonderful.
Stay wonderful. Always stay wonderful. All right. We love you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone.